Now, folks, the rift tonight. Joe Biden's economy going from bad to worse. It's not just high inflation and falling worker wages. Now we've got higher inflation and lower growth, and that will drive wages down as well, and it's called stagflation. The GD report came in 1.6% for the first quarter, way down from the temporary growth spurt in last year's second half. Meanwhile, the core inflation rate in the first quarter jumped to 3.7% at an annual rate, way above the Fed's 2% target. Now, inside the report, consumer spending slowed, capital investment slowed, inventories slumped, the trade deficit widened. So, what is Joe Biden's answer on the campaign trail? Spend more, tax more, regulate more. And that is a perfect policy storm for continued stagflation, meaning even weaker growth and higher inflation. Joe Biden's crowing over his intention to let all the successful Trump tax cuts expire. As is always the case with President Biden, his economic statements are completely counterfactual. Now, I've gone over this ground so many times, but distinguished economist Larry Lindsay is writing that people making less than $200,000 had an average tax cut of 5.5% under Trump. Now, that's a bigger number than the 3.9% tax cut for those making over $200,000. Real weekly earnings during the Trump years rose 7.7% from the end of 2016 to the end of 2020. Now, these are average families. These are typical working folks. They are not rich people, and they enjoyed a virtual boom under Mr. Donald Trump. Meanwhile, under Biden, real wages have dropped 2.9%. So let me get this right. Typical families saw their income up 7.7 under Trump, but fall 2.9 under Biden. That is a 10.5% swing against Biden, and that explains so much of why economic confidence in Trump typically runs 25 percentage points or more compared to Biden. Meanwhile, the key measure of inequality, now stay with me on this, it's called the Gini coefficient. That's most widely used for inequality. It declined significantly under Trump. He was the first president in 4 decades to leave office with a lower Gini than when he entered. That means inequality fell during the Trump years. That is part and parcel why middle and lower income people had the biggest gains from the Trump tax cut, no matter what Joe Biden untruths he may be spewing on the campaign trail. Meanwhile, Biden has increased regulatory costs by $1.4 trillion, which is strangling small business. And by the way, it's killing electricity and other sources of power necessary to underpin economic growth. Plus, Biden continues to spend his keister off, and Democratic economist Jason Furman, an honest man, has pointed out that the $500 billion or more cost of Joe Biden's plans to cancel student loans will increase inflation and increase interest rates. That includes increasing higher mortgage rates as well. Basically, Bidenomics is trying to temporarily boost consumer demand while strangling the business supply of goods and services. That is a stagflation scenario or worse. Mr. Biden says he'll permanently expire the Trump tax cuts, but voters are suggesting they will permanently retire Biden. Expire and retire. I have to think about that.